Alright everybody, good evening everybody. Welcome back to my channel, and like I said again, I'm going to start from where we stopped. So in my last video I solved this. I'm going to start from here again. So I said given A, B, C, and A is greater than 0, B is greater than 0, and C is also greater than 0, that this holds. Okay, now this is the first one I did here, and I'm going to be doing another one. Say A less than B implies that B minus A is greater than 0, right? Yes. And B less than C implies that C minus B is greater than 0. So remember what I told you before, that when I say x is greater than 0, this simply implies that x is what? Positive. Y greater than 0 simply implies that y is what? Positive. But y less than 0 implies that y is what? Negative. And the x less than 0 implies that what? X is what? Negative. So now, but we see here and here. And also, whenever you have any two positive numbers, okay, like here, we're going to take this one now. X is positive and y is positive. We'll say x plus y is still going to be positive. And even if we do y plus x, it's still going to be what? Positive. So now, let's look at this one here. I have that B minus A is positive and C minus B is positive. Let us try and add the two of them together. Now, B minus A plus C minus what? B. Let's know what is going to be positive. Let's take that. So we have here, we say B minus A plus C minus B. This and this will cancel. I will now have that C minus A is what? Greater than 0. Now, what does this imply? I want you to look here. Look here. C minus B is what? Greater than 0. What does this mean? This means that what? C is greater than A. Also implies that A is less than C. So, if you prove it this way, you're correct. You prove it this way, you are correct. Now, what did this way say? A less than B implies that this happens, and B less than C implies that this happens. Now, B minus A is greater than 0, and here, C minus B is greater than 0. So now, B minus A greater than 0, and also 0 is less than C minus B, and A is less than B, and B is less than C. Automatically, A is less than C. Let's try another thing. Let's try another thing that is going to be tricky here. Let's know if I'm going to get it. I've not done this before. I say from here, I say A less than B implies that B minus A is greater than 0, and B less than C implies that C minus B is greater than 0. So what I'm going to do here now, since okay. Oh, it's not going to work. I wanted to know if I'm going to make, okay, here. So I have here that B greater than 0. No, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So it's either we use this method 1 or we use this method 2. So now there was something I told you guys to remind me of, something like this. Or we have something like A less than B. This implies that A minus B is less than 0, and this also implies that B minus A is greater than 0. So now here, this implies that A minus B is less than 0, which is less than what? B minus A. I did this in the previous video before this one, and I asked you guys to remind me of this. And this is now what is going to pull us to the absolute value function. And what is the absolute value function? I can now tell you that absolute value function is just the normal distance what? Function. And what does absolute value do? It does everything that normal distance do. So let me clean this first, because right now we are no more going to be talking about this. We are going over to another function, which is called the absolute value function, or the modulus function. Generally, you call it the what? The distance function. Now let us take, because everything we're doing in this course, we are doing on a real line. Let's take this real line. Here is A. Okay, here is B. But let's say here is positive and here is negative. There's one funny thing about a distance function, and that funny thing is, in a distance function there's nothing like negative. There's nothing like what? Negative. So let's clean this and clean this. Let's say here is point A and here is point what? B. And here is the midpoint. Here is the middle. Now, what does absolute value function tells you? It says picking 2 points, or picking any two. Okay, let's start from picking any 2 points. We pick a point from here, pick another point here. Absolute value function says that when considering these 2 functions, the distance from here to here is the same. The distance from here to here is the same thing as the distance from here to here. For example, now we have that, okay, here is -3 and here is 2. On our real line here is 0, -1, -2, -3, here is 1, here is what? 2. So, let's check the distance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, meaning 5 steps. Okay, from 3, count 5 steps to get 2. So, meaning we counted how many steps? 5 steps to get what? 2. Now, let's check again. Let's take from these 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, meaning from 2 again, count 5 steps to get -3, to get minus what? 3. So the only difference is the direction to which we are going to. Here, this guy is walking from this place to this place, and this one is walking from here to here. So I'm walking from here to go and meet my lecturer here, and my lecturer is also walking from here to come and meet me where I am standing or sitting. So meaning that the distance from where I'm standing to where my lecturer is actually the same distance from where my lecturer is to where I'm standing. So now that is what the distance function. That is the distance function. And in distance function, it is very, very simple, because there are so many things that you can do in the distance function. Now let's check on 3 things, given 3 numbers. For example, you have these 3 places here. What does distance function tell you? Distance function tells you if here is A, here is B, and here is C. It tells you that the distance from A to B, the distance from A to B is the same, is either less or equal to the distance from A to C plus the distance of what? C to B. Here, they are equal because they are on a straight line. So moving from A to C and from C to B is something as moving from C to A to what? B. Now let's take that here is A, here is B, and here is C. The distance from here to here and here to here automatically is bigger than here to here. Do you see that? Just like, yes, I am here, my lecturer is here, and the classroom is here. Instead of me going to the classroom straight, knowing that my lecturer will come to the classroom, I said, no, let me go and meet my lecturer first before going to the classroom. You see that? I'm not going to make the classroom time on, I'm not going to make it on time to the classroom. So, that is another thing, the distance function tells us. And then there's another thing you need to know. The distance between myself and the place I am standing is always what? 0. Okay. Let me put it here. Here is point A, here is point B, and I am standing what? Here. What is the distance between this point and this? Okay, this is me. What is the distance between me and this point on the x-axis? Automatically, it is what? It is 0. The distance is what? Is 0. So now, there's another thing here. This is all about the distance function. So now I want to ask you, you might be wondering, I'm talking about distance function, okay, I was talking about absolute value function, and I now switched back to distance function. Absolute value function and distance function are not far-fetched from each other. What do I mean by that? Now, first of all, what is absolute value function? Now, absolute value function is noted with this. What does it do? It gives you back, for example now, this is kind of a function, or it's kind of a machine that reprograms any value into a positive value. It programs any value you give to it, any number now you place in this absolute value function, it is going to bring back a non-negative number. It's going to give you a non-negative number. What do I mean by non-negative number? A non-negative number actually are what? Numbers that start from 0 to the positive integer. So let's get on it. So absolute value function is this, and let's look at it like a machine. Now this is where okay, this is the input, this is the input. Now this is the absolute value function. We look at it like a machine. Like a machine. And this machine is programmed in such a way that when you put in a that is greater than 0, it gives you something. When you put a that is greater than 0, it gives you what? Something. When you put a that is equal to 0, it gives you something. And when you put a which is less than 0, it gives you something. Do you want to know what that thing is? I bet you watch the next video. I'm going to explain everything down to the dust. Thank you. I remain on the SIR-MuCOT Timothy. Do like, subscribe, and share the video to go viral. Thank you.